Through this video, we will understand what is a pivot table. The literal meaning of the word pivot is moving something around a center point. And when you pivot something, you're not creating anything new. The same thing goes for a pivot table in Excel. Whatever you can do using pivot table, you can do that using any other option in Excel also. But there are two major advantages of pivot table over any other function in Excel. Number one, it is very quick. It is so fast that whatever time you devote in doing a particular task using any other function or a formula in Excel, it takes hardly 1/10 of the time. Secondly, it is a kind of an errorless technique because it requires very less manual intervention. I'll explain you. Have a look at the data. This is a bank's deposit data. We have a date, we have amount with us, account type opened by branch and customer. For example, on 1st of September, an amount of $5,000 has been deposited in an account type of IRA. The account was opened by a new accountant and branch was central, and the customer was existing. If I ask you one very basic question, how much deposit we have received in each branch? How you can do that, how you can perform it using any function in Excel? The same thing can be done using a formula which is SUMIF. But it will take some time. You may also think of doing this using filter or sort, but it will take some time because right now we have in total 3 branches with us, Central, North County and West Side. And we have to perform that. We have to use a formula or a filter or sorting separately for these 3 branches. But if we perform the same task using pivot table, it would be very easy. I'll show you how. And the best part about the pivot table that it is very useful when you have a large database with you. That is why in this example I have taken a huge database of around 700 to 700 rows. So let's see how we can create it. First, the most important part while you are creating a pivot table is the data that you are creating a pivot table from must be having headers, because that is something which is very much required. So first I'll check my data. Yes, I do have headers with me. Then I am going to select the complete data. When I'll place my cursor within the data and I press Ctrl A, it will select the complete data. And when I press Ctrl backspace, it will take me to the top of the data. And then I have to go to Insert tab, and there we have an option which is Pivot Table. The option is available under Insert tab in Excel 2007 as well as 10 also. So when I click on this, it will select the complete data range. Have a look, and it will ask me where you want to place the pivot table report. So I can place it in a new worksheet or into an existing worksheet. If I go with existing worksheet option, this location box will get activated. So either I can place it somewhere here, or the better is we can go with new worksheet because I want to place this report in a fresh worksheet. So when I press OK, it will create a new worksheet. You can see sheet 1 is there and the skeleton of a pivot table is being created here. On the right hand side, you can see this is a field list that we have. If you remember, these are the headings of the table of the database that we had. So that is why it is very much important that we should write them correctly. Now think about any table whenever you have created. Whenever you create a table, there are 3 always common places where you place the data: columns, rows, and if you want to fill the table, you have to put some values into it, isn't it? Just have a look here. We have column labels, we have row labels, and we have a place to put values in. We'll talk about this filter later, but let's carry forward the question that we discussed earlier. How much deposit we have received in each branch? Now, this is very much important. Whenever you want to create a pivot table, always think about the fields that are required to create that table. So we need a branch as well as amount. These two things we need to create the pivot table. Now, as we discussed, we have three places to put the values in, to put the data fields in, but we require only two. So when I pick up this branch, I'll click on it, I can drag it, either I can drop it into column label or I can drop it into row label. It's my wish. The important point is that the answer will be correct, whether I put it into row label or a column label. It's all about the layout. So for instance, if I drop it into row label, on the left hand side you can see all the branches that were there in the data is coming here. If a branch comes only one time in the data, it will come only once. If a branch is coming 50 times in the data, it will come only once here. And if a branch is coming only once in the data, it will also come over here. Now, the second thing that we need is amount. So I'll pick up the amount, and obviously I need to perform some calculation on this amount. I need the total amount. So I have to drop it into values. So as and when I drop it here, just have a look on the left hand side in column B, it will total up all the values. That's it. That's the magic of pivot table. You just drag and drop, like we are using a lot of apps these days on our smartphone. We just drag and drop and we are good to go. If you would have done it using SUMIF, you had to use that 3 times because there are 3 branches. Okay, let's take it further. Let's calculate something more. If I'll ask you one more question, that how much deposit we have received in each branch and under each account type. So what do we have to do? If we'll go with any other option, like we have 2 conditions now, we need to consider branch as well as we need to consider account type. If I use a function, we can use SUMIFS, which is SUMIFS. And you know how many times? Around 12 times, because there are 3 branches and there are 4 account types. So 3 into 4, 12 times. But it's so easy through pivot table that you cannot resist using this. Have a look. We already have branch, we already have amount. So next thing that we need is account type. So when I click on it, I can just drag it. And either I can drop it inside this row labels or under column labels. It's all about the layout, guys. Remember, when I drop it here, have a look. There we go. That's it, guys. That's it. We got the total of all the deposits that we have received under each account type and under each branch. Okay, now have a look. You are telling me that, okay, this is the total amount that has been deposited under saving account type in central branch, which is 885757. Now, if I do have another source who will tell me, no, this is not the case. The amount that we have received is something which is 885000. Now, there is a difference. So, what I'm going to ask you is, just give me the breakup of this value. And I'm going to ask the same thing from my source who told me the difference. So I'm not sure about that guy, but I'm sure about you, because you are using a pivot table. And if you want a breakup of a particular value, what do you need to do? It's so easy. Have a look. You just need to double click and it will create a sheet in which it will give you all the breakup, all the values from which that value has been created. If I select it, the complete column, you will see the total which is coming is 885757. So it's so easy, and it has been created a new sheet. If you want to keep it, you can, else you can delete it. It's okay. I'll go to the next worksheet where I have that pivot table. One small thing, if you are using it for the first time, a slight confusion that happens a lot. When I click outside this particular area, for example over here, that field list goes away. And how that comes up? When I click inside it again. And by any chance, if you just cross it over here and you are inside it, it will not come again. The way is you can just right click and there is an option which is show field list. So when you click on it, the field list is there in front of you. Now let's take it further. This is the total amount that we have received in each branch under each account type. But what if I want to know that how much amount we have received from the new customers, because we may have gone through with a marketing campaign and we have spent a lot of money and we need to know that how much we have received from the new customers. So one more field that we require now is customer. So I'll just do one thing, I'll just pick up the customer, but I don't want everything from this customer field, remember. So that is why I'm going to put it into filters. So when I drop it here, you just concentrate on cell A1. Have a look. That customer is there and it is stating as all. But I don't want all the customer. What I want is I'll click over here and I'll choose new. I'll press OK and there we go. We have the total amount from the new customers under each account type and under each branch. Now, if I change this calculation to count, I'll get one very important figure for my business. That will be the number of total new customer has joined us in the month of September under each account type and under each branch. And if you want to change the calculation in a pivot table anytime, it's very easy. How? You just right click anywhere in the data. The option comes up as summarize values by, and there is an option which is count. Or if you do not find suitable option here, so you can click on more options and you can change it there. So I'll click on count and there we go. In total we have 245 customers who has joined us. So it's a very useful function to start your day with. Thank you.